Coming to you from Farmer Dave's World Headquarters here in Drake, Massachusetts, I'm Stacey.
And I'm Denise.
And we're here to help you
prepare your share.
Summer's been fun with lots of warm, sunny days, but fall's just around the corner. It's time to begin talking about some of those fall crops. This Vegisode is all about broccoli and cauliflower. Broccoli and cauliflower are part of the brassica family, along with kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and collard greens. These vegetables enjoy growing in the cooler weather of the fall.
Excellent. Broccoli and cauliflower are two nutritional giants in addition to being adaptable in so many recipes. Both of the vegetables give you a big bang for your buck, being low in calories and having a low glycemic index, which means they do not spike blood sugar. They are loaded with fiber, contain many vitamins and other components with cancer-fighting properties.
First is cauliflower. Did you know it was available in multiple colors? Here on the farm, the white and purple varieties are grown. That beautiful purple hue comes from anthocyanin, which is an antioxidant that's found in red cabbage and red wine. Bet you didn't know that.
I did not.
I felt like I was in a Dr. Seuss story when I was eating my purple cauliflower soup. And if you want that color to be even more intense, add some purple carrots.
Absolutely.
All varieties are prepped and cooked in exactly the same way, and Denise is going to show us how to break it down.
All right, so you first want to start by stripping off these leaves. So these should just break off. If you need to use a paring knife, that is fine. Tend to get a little bit of tough with my vegetables.
They kind of look like tentacles.
They look a little funny, a little alien-like. So you get the point with taking off all the leaves. You're going to want to then use a small paring knife to separate the florets. So you're just going to want to go right inside.
Keep those fingers curled.
Absolutely. So you can see how these come off beautifully. Just like that. I think you guys get the picture.
Excellent. Now, once you get them all apart, you want to break them down a little bit further and have them the size that you want for your recipe. You want them the same size too, that way they cook very evenly. Right here we have a tray of ones that we've already broken down along with broccoli.
Fantastic.
Now, short-term storage, what are we going to do?
So, short-term storage, once you have these cut down, you're going to want to store them in a resealable bag. You want to put a paper towel in here, put these inside. You want to remove the air. You can certainly use a straw in the bag to remove the air, and then seal that tight.
Now, short-term storage, once you cut them down like that and put them in there, you should use them within a few days. It's a great time saver though. If you bring home your CSA share and you have your broccoli and cauliflower, get out the cutting board, get them broken down right into pieces and have them in the bag. That way, if you come home from work another night and you want to make a stir fry, whatever, a soup, they're already broken down. You've taken that step out of the picture at this point. Now, long-term storage. They're great for freezing, but you need to blanch them before freezing. Now, we've gone over blanching. We have an entire Vegisode on blanching. It really does make a difference in the texture of the vegetable that when you defrost it in December and use it in something, it's not going to be mushy. So what we're going to do now is I have got the water boiling. We have got an ice bath. So we thought we'd just do a few pieces and do a quick process to give you the overview of this. Water's boiling. I have a spider. Very helpful so you don't splash yourself. I'm going to put them right on the spider, right into the boiling water. Let me do a few more. This is just an overview, so we're not going to do this entire tray because you're going to get very bored watching me. Right in. Now, normally, these size pieces I consider on the smaller size. If you're going to do larger chunks, they're going to blanch for longer. These will be about 2 to 3 minutes before you take them out and put them in the water bath to then stop the cooking process. Not cooking process, but blanching process. If they're larger, you're really going to do 3 to 4 minutes. So we're going to pretend right now the 2 to 3 minutes is up through the magic of television. Going to drain, go right in to the ice bath. I like the spider too because it has a really long handle so you can't really splash yourself because that water's really hot. So then we're going to just stir this around. And then what I usually do, especially if you're not doing too many at a time, this should happen really quickly. Take it out. Yeah, they're pretty much cool. So then put them into a strainer. Any excess water, because of just what broccoli and cauliflower look like, there's a lot of places for that water to get trapped. So we want to make sure that it drains really well. 3 more pieces here. Sorry, I'm bringing the ice with me too, but
it happens.
So now, I mean, look, even with the ice there, it's still, all right, not much is coming out. Then you're going to take them and put them on a paper towel lined tray just to have them completely drain.
Excellent.
You go right ahead.
So we're going to use these little guys just so the ice doesn't come out here. Easy enough, Stacey.
Then I usually just take this, give it a quick dry, make sure there's nothing else in there.
Beautiful.
And we just put them in the resealable bag without the paper towel in it for freezing. Obviously, it's just going to get stuck to the cauliflower. Use the straw method, suck the air out of it, put it away, and you're all set for the middle of winter.
Broccoli can be thought of as the fountain of youth. For vitamin C, most people think of citrus fruit, but broccoli has a whopping 81 milligrams per cup. It also contains vitamin A and E. These, along with vitamin C, help fight skin damage and boost collagen formation, hence the fountain of youth.
Some of broccoli's other nutritious accolades include vitamin K, calcium to strengthen your bones, folate, which also has a cancer protective role. Broccoli also contains, are you ready for this word? Sulfafluorophane, which gives the cruciferous veggies that slightly bitter taste and cancer-fighting properties. So much is packed into that humble bowl of broccoli.
The prep. Using a small knife or your hands, you want to go ahead and remove any of the little extra leaves that might be on here. And there are a couple of different methods that Stacey and I are going to show you. So first of all, we want to slice the floret with part of the stem. So you want to get right in here, and you actually want part of this stem. So get right in there with the knife.
This is kind of when you go to one of those fancy restaurants and they have that whole pretty floret with the stem on the plate. This is how you get that.
Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so you get the idea with this. Then you're going to want to go ahead, grab your vegetable peeler, and take the skin off the stem, but just the top layer.
The top layer is usually the tough part.
Beautiful. Excellent. I'm going to just take a little more off of that guy. Fantastic.
That looks pretty. All right, my method is a little bit more common. I'm going to remove the florets and cut them down to approximately the same size. So I'm going to take my head, go in, just get the florets off. Get one more. Now, we've got a whole bunch of different sizes here. Since that's the smallest one, that's going to be the one that I am going to use as my judgment. So I'm going to go in, and this big one I'm going to go and cut into 3 pieces. That way, they're approximately the same size. This is going to allow for cooking to be a little bit more even, or roasting, or however you're going to do it. So that's what that looks like. Now we come to the stems. Now the thing about the florets is everybody wants the florets. They're pretty, you see them everywhere, but this stem part is really delicious. I'll cut the rest of them off. Then you're gonna go in with the peeler and try and peel as much as you can. This is a little big. Like this. Just get off some of that tough area. all the way around. Now once that's off, I'm going to cut that bottom end, and then you're just going to cut it into small discs. These are fantastic. Stir fries, soups, they take a little bit longer to cook, but they're just delicious and they add that little extra layer of crunch. The other thing that this is great for, and we made them earlier this year, is broccoli stem pesto.
Oh.
So you take these, pop them in your food processor, and I would start these first and just start to get them broken down because raw, they are a little bit tough. Then you're gonna stream in your olive oil, your garlic, throw in some nuts, and then add your cheese at the end. It's positively delicious on pasta. It also freezes well. I would just add everything except your cheese, and then you can either freeze it in ice cube trays or you could just put it in the bottom of a freezer bag, roll it on up, looks like the green cigar, and then in the middle of winter you just slice off what you want. So if you're just having like one bowl of pasta, you don't have to defrost the whole thing.
That's a
So
great
that's pretty
idea.
cool.
Excellent. So short-term storage. So the same as cauliflower, and you want to use this within a few days, unless of course I have some plans for it. I'm going to normally cut it up, steam it in the microwave. This way it's ready for me to add to absolutely anything.
There's no waiting on that. It's just like the cauliflower. Break it all down ahead of time, or if you know you're going to use it, steam it. It's perfect.
Excellent.
Long term, same thing, blanch and freeze. This is going to ensure that you have delicious broccoli in January and February. Nothing in the grocery store is going to taste like broccoli that you got in the summer and the fall from the farm.
Absolutely.
Broccoli stem pesto, as I mentioned, freezes fantastic. Pick up broccoli, put it away. You're not going to regret it. And are you ready for some cooking? Roasting. If you have anyone on the fence with eating either broccoli or cauliflower, try roasting it. That caramelization that happens with the roasting mellows the bitterness and gives the vegetable a slightly sweet, nutty edge. This is our Parmesan and garlic roasted broccoli and cauliflower.
Preheat the oven to 425 and have 1 or 2 sheet trays lined with parchment or foil depending on the amount of vegetables that are being roasted. Once the broccoli and cauliflower is cut up, your judgment call.
The vegetables should be placed in a single layer with little space between, so they roast and not steam. The florets need to be similar in size. Cut the large ones in half. Here we have a medium head of cauliflower and broccoli, and we have cut them down right here. Now, in the bowl they go. I'm going to toss them with a couple tablespoons, maybe a little more, of olive oil. And here I have a mixture of granulated garlic and red pepper flake, because that's how we roll here. In they go. And now I'm going to do this so I don't get my hands all...
Excellent technique, Stacey.
Nothing's going flying. Can't make this stuff up, people. Okay, now they're not quite shiny enough, so I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil in there. These have a lot of crevices, so sometimes you wind up using a little bit more olive oil than you would on peppers or onions or something like that. Okay. Now you see how shiny those look at this point? So those are all ready to go. So what we're going to do is dump them.
Fantastic.
And then kind of spread them out a little bit. So they're on. You just don't want them on top of each other, is the whole. It's a little tight, but it's not too bad. Okay. So these are now going to go into the oven.
Cheese?
We're going to roast. Cheese is second.
Okay.
We roast first because the cheese is going to burn faster.
Okay, good to know.
So we're going to roast this first. It's going to get them soft. And then the last 5 to 10 minutes of cooking, we take it back out and we put cheese on it.
Excellent.
So this is now going to go in, roast about 30 minutes if it's large, 20 minutes if it's small. Honestly, what I would do is 20 minutes on this, and then I would check it.
Okay.
And then at that point, give it a good stir, and if it seems like it's tender, then I would sprinkle it with the Parmesan, put it back in for another 5 to 10 minutes.
Delicious.
Now, through the magic of television, we have one done. And this is what they look like, roasted and after the Parmesan is melted. Now, something that is one of my favorite things to do with this is a little bit of lemon on it. Okay, and I didn't squeeze and squirt you or I. That was very elegant of me.
Very good.
But of course, we'll get that seed out of there so none of us eat it.
There you go.
And that perks up the flavor of the cauliflower. It's one of my favorite ways to have it. So that's
delicious.
one version of roasted cauliflower. Do you have another one?
Oh, yes, I do. There is another version. So play with your spices, Italian seasoning or some Indian spices, onions and garlic. Cloves could also be added to the tray. Blanching's been covered, and we know we love to blanch and chill our vegetables, but this is also great for dipping.
Definitely, definitely. Now steaming. Steaming is so simple. You don't have to get out all your pots and pans for steaming. You can just steam in the microwave. I would take the pieces that are approximately this size, cut them down, put them in a microwave-safe bowl, add a few tablespoons of water in the back, put them in, cook them probably about 4 to 5 minutes, check the tenderness. I like them to have a little bit of bite to them. Cauliflower, you would do this in exactly the same way. Now, if you want to make that mashed cauliflower, you can either boil or you can just steam the cauliflower down until you can mash it with a fork. And then you could just use one of those potato mashes, mash it down, add some butter, some scallions, treat it just like you would mashed potatoes.
And then sauteing. So you want to cut into bite-sized pieces, cook in a couple tablespoons of olive oil in a skillet until tender, and then season as you like.
It's approximately the good size for sauteing. Now, veggie tots.
Yay.
I know we had an entire Vegisode on veggie tots, but these are one of my favorites, and these are one of my favorite ways to do it. Broccoli and cauliflower with cheddar cheese, it's just amazing. We have some all put together. Now, what we wound up doing with this, as you can see, everything is all mixed. We're gonna do the rundown on this. Now, you're gonna preheat your oven to 400 degrees. We have a mini muffin tin right here that we've already sprayed really well with cooking spray. This has cheese in it, spray it well. Then we've got 4 cups of broccoli and cauliflower that we really pulverized with a knife. You can see in here just how small these pieces are. We did a cup of sharp cheddar cheese, and then I used scallions because it's what I had, finely chopped. Half a cup of panko, 2 eggs well beaten, salt and pepper. Gave it a really good mix. Now this is where the judgment comes in. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Prior to chopping up your vegetables, you're going to give them a steam in the microwave, chop them very finely. After that point, a lot of the water is going to get released. It's very important with veggie tots. And I don't know if you've made veggie tots yet. Very important with veggie tots. You don't want them wet. If you have them wet, there's not going to be any caramelization. So you're not going to get that little crunchy edge.
I see.
Which is kind of the point with the cheese. So you're going to drain them, squeeze them. May have to use paper towel, get them really, really, really dry. Mix all those ingredients together, and it looks like wet sand. I put my hand in here. My hands are clean, by the way. And you squeeze it, pretty much stays. So that's your test. If it's too dry and it's crumbly, you can add more egg, you can add more cheese, you can add more panko. You just kind of fool around with those ratios. So that's like that. Now we fill. You move that up so everybody can see. You're gonna scoop right into the wells. I give a good tablespoon into each one. Then go in. You see that one needs just a little bit more. You're gonna go in with the spoon, compact it down. Because when all this melts, it is gonna shrink. And there we go. So that is what it's gonna look like. So really quickly, not to bore you, I'm gonna fill these, and then we're gonna see what they look like when they're done cooking.
I can't wait to try one of these.
Oops, man overboard. So you're basically going to fill them a little more than you think, and then press them down. Get in there. There we go. All right.
Beautiful.
And that is what they should look like. Now, through the magic of television, we have some ready. But you're going to bake that for 15 to 20 minutes. The top edges are going to be slightly brown. Take it out, let it cool momentarily, maybe 5 minutes at the most. Then take a butter knife and run it around the edges of the muffin tin. Otherwise, they're going to become permanently adherent to your muffin tin. And they're delicious. You'll just be eating them with a spoon. That's the only thing. But this is what they will look like when they're done. They keep really, really well in the refrigerator, just on a plate like that, covered with plastic wrap. They're a great snack. They're great at room temperature. They're great for the lunch box. Your lunch at work. They're really a gem. Try.
Absolutely. You have to ask me twice.
Cheesy. Crunchy.
Delicious.
Love these. Make them. Any spice fans out there? We're going buffalo with cauliflower. This is a great recipe for a crowd.
Ingredients. We've got 1 cup each of milk and flour, a teaspoon of garlic powder, pepper, a tablespoon of olive oil, 2/3 cup of panko, 2/3 cup of buffalo sauce. Now you can either make this from scratch or certainly feel free to pick that up at the store. 1 head of cauliflower.
You're going to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Cut your cauliflower into bite-sized pieces, just like what we did here. That way they cook all the way through during this time.
Fantastic. So all those ingredients that I just mentioned, the milk, the flour, garlic powder, etc., get them all into a bag, into a resealable bag. And then put your cauliflower in, toss until well coated. So once you're done coating them in the bag, you're going to take them out, pour them into a colander, and let them drain. This process really ensures that all of that delicious coating is really on there and soaked right into the nooks and the crannies of the cauliflower. So it also is going to remove any of the additional that you don't want on there, and then go ahead and get them on your tray with the parchment paper.
You're going to wind up baking them for about 20 minutes. Then check some of the larger pieces. Even though you try to do them all the same size, honestly, there are a few pieces that are larger. And if they did have a little bit more batter stuck to them because of all those little nooks and crannies, I just flipped them over, that way they could cook evenly. Then I put them back in for probably another 5 to 10 minutes, took them out, and we're gonna dip them.
We sure are. Which one are you going for?
I want this one. See how they came out.
That is really good.
That's cauliflower.
Can you believe that this is cauliflower? That's delicious.
All right, I guarantee you, and I'd like people to get back to us on this, make this for a game.
Yes.
And put it out, and don't really tell anybody what it is, and just put it on the table with the dressing and just see if it gets eaten. I'd be interested to see it because that truly is delicious. We hope you make it.